back inside the stadium in Indianapolis for the glamour game. Kentucky and Louisville in the Midwest Regional semifinal, with the winner to match up against Michigan on Sunday afternoon. Welcome back, friends. Greg Anthony, Jim Nance here, and listen, we don't have enough storylines here, Greg, do we? We got the last two national champions about to meet. They played back in December at Rupp Arena. We saw it. Kentucky won, but these teams are a whole lot different now 3 months later.
They really are, and if you think of it this way, it comes down for me to the size of Kentucky against the speed of Louisville. If Louisville's going to win this game, they're going to have to speed up Kentucky and not allow them to pound them on the interior. And if you're Kentucky, you want to have controlled aggression. You don't want to get caught up in the helter-skelter frenetic pace that Louisville thrives in. So let's see which style wins out.
Kentucky coming off the win against the #1 seed in this bracket, Wichita State. And most people observe it's the best Kentucky's played all year. You agree?
No doubt about it. It was by far the best game because they were unselfish. They played with purpose, and the passion and intensity was there. But more impressively for me was the experience of that young group that John Calipari had that really showed in that game. It's going to have to be better tonight, though, because you know Louisville's going to be motivated, having lost there at Rupp earlier this season, and an opportunity for Rick Pitino and this young group to maybe have a chance to defend that national title.
Tracy Wolfson is with us as well, and here are the lineups. All 5 starters for Kentucky, freshmen. For Louisville, Russ Smith, the senior. Luke Hancock, the senior. And Van Treese, the center, a senior. There's just a little bit of buzz inside the house here tonight. Rick Pitino. He won a national championship for Kentucky in 1996. They've got a banner, a / jersey hanging at Rupp Arena, retiring, if you will, Pitino's legendary role there with the Wildcats and what he did to rebuild the program. And, of course, now in his 13th year at Louisville and winning the championship for the Cardinals just last April in Atlanta. The first coach ever to win national championships at 2 different schools. The 2 schools on the floor tonight. And there's Coach Calipari, who with Pitino, the only other coach to take 3 programs to the Final Four. And he's 2 years removed from the national title that he brought back to Lexington. The officials, DeRosa, Natalie, and Rastatter. With Hull, the alternate official.
Jim, you can just feel the electricity here and the anxiety.
Yes.
Really, from both sides. No more heated or hated rivalry, I should say, in college basketball.
Tapped around twice and into the hands of the Harrisons, who combined for 39 points in the win over the Shockers last Sunday in St. Louis.
And let's keep an eye in the half court how Louisville loads to the penetration of both Aaron and Andrew. Are they able to keep those 2 guys out of the paint? Wichita State couldn't do it last weekend. Can the Cardinals tonight?
Over to Aaron, Harrison, and Young on the wing with a 3. And the rebound out to Harrell, who has improved greatly since they played 3 months ago in Lexington.
And of all the things that have materialized between these 2 teams from earlier this season, I think that's the biggest, is his improvement.
Aaron Harrison takes it away to Andrew and over to Young for the layup.
Louisville led the nation in turnover margin.
Hancock able to get it to go.
As Hancock finishes. But if you go back to that first game, Kentucky actually forced more turnovers. And you saw that first possession, they were able to get the turnover and get out in transition.
Chris Jones with Harrell coming over to help. Down to Johnson. And Randall comes in Now they have out-rebounded their opponents in the tournament, Kentucky, big time. Double-digit margin. And here's the strip of Hancock that led to the basket by Young.
And this is another area where I think they've improved in the tournament. They haven't always been as efficient in transition, although they like to run out a lot. They've improved in that area in this tournament.
The foul was on Hancock. Aaron Harrison. He's been hot from the outside the tournament, but not that one.
And those are the shots, if you're Louisville, you want Kentucky to take. You want them to stay perimeter oriented, even if they have a little success, because to your point, it's about the paint. That's been the difference in their success here in the tournament.
Here goes Russ Smith, blazing to the basket for two.
He's been as good as any guard in the country this season.
The lob swatted away by Montrezl Harrell.
And you see there an example of that speed we talked about. It's not just in Louisville's backcourt. Montrezl Harrell brings tremendous quickness to this game as well. Beautiful help there to prevent that alley-oop. Looks like we got some blood.
It's Van Treese, and he'll be replaced by Mathiang. Mango Mathiang, who started in that game at Rupp Arena.
You heard Chuck talk pregame about Louisville's going to have to play some zone. No doubt about it. They will play and give Kentucky a steady dose of that, mixing their defenses, but ultimately it's about their ability again to load and keep the Harrisons on the perimeter.
Young, his second basket. Said size against speed. This is speed right here with Jones.
It is speed, but also the size, and this is one of the areas that matchup of Randall and Harrell is going to be big throughout the course of this game.
Here's Young again. Dips down and out. Mathiang clears it. Jones with the wiggle and the fake. Step it up to Smith, and he's fouled by Young.
And we talked about that defense of Louisville loading. 7 field goal attempts for Kentucky. 4 of them have been three-pointers. That is not the recipe for success if you're the Wildcats. You have to play to your strength, which is pounding the basketball in the paint via the post or off the dribble.
The number 5 all-time scorer in Louisville's decorated history, Smith, to shoot one more. Don't miss out on NCAA tournament gear, including Sweet 16 shirts at the official championship store of the NCAA. Get your gear now, ncaa.com/shop. It's the second one to go. We saw Van Treese had to go to the bench with the blood. This Kentucky lineup, every starter at least 6'6". Randall.
But you see how loaded they are again. They're forcing Kentucky, and I shouldn't even say forcing. Kentucky's settling right now for that perimeter shot.
Here's Hancock, and he gets it. Luke Hancock, the MOP at the Final Four a year ago.
They've done the job of controlling that defensive backboard. They get out in transition, and Hancock's had a terrific second half of the season. Triple me.
Behind the stats presented by LG. Coach Cal, 8 straight tournament wins, 15 wins since 2010, most in the nation. He's 3-0 in the Sweet 16 at Kentucky. And Pitino, Rick's never lost a Sweet 16 game, 11-0 all time. Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, thanks a lot, Jim. The last time Louisville was here in Indianapolis. We witnessed the horrific leg injury to Kevin Ware. Ware's goal was to return this year. He did play in 9 games, but he re-injured that leg and has since taken a medical red shirt. He is hoping to be back next year. He has not traveled with the team, so he is not here in Indianapolis. But at 3 o'clock this morning, he tweeted, "One thing that has been bothering me all week, not playing this year at Lucas Oil." Guys, has to be difficult.
Gotta be. Tracy, those of us who are here will never forget that moment. Here's the inbound throw. It's picked up by Mathiang. Ware will come back after the medical redshirt with 2 years of eligibility starting next year. As Jones working on Cauley-Stein, Hancock got Randall to commit, drives in, and draws the foul on Cauley-Stein. And we've got the under 16 timeout. You've laughed with them, you've cried with them, and now it's time to say goodbye. Don't miss the special 1-hour series finale, How I Met Your Mother, Monday at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Van Tree still sits. Mathiang staying on the floor, making a couple of plays, and coming out of a break and a foul going into it by Cauley-Stein. As Jones, pull-up jumper, pulled down by Mathiang. There he is.
You can see it there. And even though Chris Jones missed that shot, he's played really well. When he gets that switch off pick and rolls, he's attacking and facilitating. That time he takes the jumper, but then Mathiang able to clean it up with that offensive glass.
Kentucky 0 for 5 from 3. Now St. Louis was 0 for 14 against Louisville. Most attempts from 3 in tournament history without a make. Overall, going back to the Manhattan game, the last 21 threes against Louisville have been misses as Young draws the foul. Mathiang, a much improved player since early in the season.
He really is, and you could say that about so many guys on this team for Louisville. Much like they did a season ago when they won the national championship. They dealt with a lot of stuff early on, injuries, a lack of maturity. Now these players have really bought in, and they've played exceptionally well. Rick Pitino had high praise for his troops in terms of how they played the second half of the season.
But a moment here to recognize Hancock has just picked up his second. So coming in for him is Wayne Blackshear.
And that combination of Blackshear and Hancock are going to have to be big. James Young, I think, also, because he's the one guy with the way Kentucky's offense is structured. He's going to get opportunities to attack gaps, I think, more than the Harrison twins will, because the defense is loaded at the top for them, not so much for Young on the wing.
Young has all 5 of the Wildcats' points as Smith drove in, whips it over to Blackshear. Harrell, one to get into it on this end of the floor, and he's short. He's had a couple of close looks. Mathiang gets it back, and now a foul. On the floor, the foul call is on Aaron Harrison.
And that play, though, that sequence by Mathiang just gave this entire Cardinal team a boost of energy, because a lot of this isn't totally expected. This is what he's capable of, but look at the intensity and the energy with which he's playing, and this is something Kentucky's not used to. They're not used to being hurt on the offensive glass.
Mathiang with 4 rebounds, 3 of them at the offensive end.
It has been really the perfect storm early on, with the exception of those 2 fouls to Hancock. Now let's see how this young Kentucky group responds. Early on, they settle for the threes. Let's see now if they can impose their will on the interior and start attacking the paint.
Terry Rozier is defending here, coming into the game for Louisville. And the basket does not count. The foul was on Rozier again, who had just come into the game. A freshman out of Shaker Heights High School in Ohio.
And this is Andrew and Aaron Harrison, I think, in a nutshell. Their ability at that, with their size, to get the angle and get to the rim there. That's what's been critical for their success thus far in the tournament. It has to be on display, I think, in this game for them to get the win.
There's Rozier, and the foul on Andrew Harrison around the neck. his first.
And Jared Paulson just checking in here. Tries to throw it up and allow the size of Harrison to win out, but great effort there by the freshman to come up with that steal.
So Paulson is pulled after that inbounds throw, and they bring in Hawkins. Dominique Hawkins is Kentucky. Here's Smith. Oh, he missed the layup. And Cauley-Stein clears it.
And that's why he missed it. Cauley-Stein's ability to block shots. It's also his ability to alter shots. Really sped up Smith on that layup.
That's Randall. Impressive rebound by Rozier. And he's going to bring it back out. Blackshear on that one's off of Hawkins. Yeah, you know when you're penetrating, you know when Cauley-Stein is in the area.
Yeah, beautiful find there, but you see how the fact he made him switch hands there. He was expecting Russ Smith to contest, one of the best finishers in college basketball, but that showed you the impact that the ability of shot blocking brings to the table.
Russ Smith with the quick draw, and he buries the three.
Early on, we have not seen the same intensity from Kentucky that we saw last week against the Shockers. They're a little bit on their heels right now. Young team's going to have to regroup. Calipari's going to have to get their energy level to rise.
Poitras on the floor. Here's Randall. And again, only Young has scored. Harrison. And look at Rozier. My goodness, did he climb. Smith one more time, not this time. Harrison penetrating, no call. Up ahead, Harrell. Timeout, Kentucky.
Welcome back, and Louisville here early on in total control, and Cauley-Stein looks to have hurt his leg during that last sequence. And that would be a huge loss, not having his shot blocking ability and energy, especially with his perimeter defense.
Dakari Johnson, the starter, has come back in for Cauley-Stein, who is hobbling now over on the Kentucky sideline. He goes to the far end of the bench.
And now they go back, Louisville, to the man-to-man.
And that's off Randall as Blackshear reached in and deflected it off the leg of Randall.
And you can see how good a job of loading. You see Blackshear comes in and gets the deflection there. They're forcing Kentucky to play in the crowd. Wichita State, that's the one thing they didn't do well last week.
Blackshear waited and got it. Another timeout by Kentucky. A 14-1 run. When we're back in Indianapolis, here's what happened to Cauley-Stein. Middle of the floor, 15 for Kentucky.
It looked like he just planted.
Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, I'm right here by the Kentucky bench, and Willie Cauley-Stein is pointing the inside of his left ankle. He came off hobbling. He told the trainers, I heard it pop. It does not sound good for Willie Cauley-Stein right now. No further word, guys.
Harrison over to Young, step up, shot. And Louisville absolutely manhandling Kentucky. Blackshear looking for three more. And Poitras was pushed by the Cardinals. And the foul is on Mathiang.
And Jim, the other thing Louisville's going to have to do, other guards have to rebound. They've done a really good job here early on. Jones has been in there. Smith has been in there as well. And then Rozier, those three smaller but more athletic and quicker to the basketball thus far than Kentucky.
Poitras out, and the first 5 of Kentucky on the floor. As Young, he got hit. I believe it was Blackshear. It was. There they meet before the game. Coach Cal, Coach Pitino, and Louisville up 18-5. Already tonight, Michigan and Connecticut make the 8. Michigan winning by 2 on this floor over a fast-closing Tennessee team. Louisville and Kentucky each with 8 consecutive tournament wins, and just a moment ago, Willie Cauley-Stein limps to the Kentucky locker room. Wildcats have gone 5.5 minutes without a basket. No, still, only James Young has scored in this game for them.
This zone, the switching of the defense is also confusing Kentucky a little bit.
There's the lob, and Randall is on the board.
Boy, what a big play. Nice find by Harrison and a good finish by Randall.
Took 6 minutes to break the drought. Lob, and Harrell can't come down with it. Randall was there defending. Off the floor, Young able to scoop it up. Aaron Harrison. Rozier up ahead. Blackshear. Tough shot. Pulled away by Randall. Louisville fans are crying for a foul.
Looks like they've gone back to their man-to-man again. I think Randall is the guy they got to try to get involved in their offense.
Over to Young, driving in. Goal on Van Treese.
You heard the crowd reacting. They thought that Aaron Harrison, and he did. He definitely stepped out of bounds there. And the officials looking right at it. I don't know how he missed that one. Huge break, though, for Kentucky as Young able to get the foul on the other side and go to the free throw line.
First foul on Harrell. And Poitras replaces Dakari Johnson. Young, a Michigan kid. Grew up Mr. Basketball in Michigan, but he wanted to go to Kentucky because he wanted to follow in the footsteps of his all-time favorite player, Tayshaun Prince. Smith, Harrell, and the Cardinals able to break apart that Wildcat defense.
And remember, without Cauley-Stein, they get smaller with Poitras out there, so when they're switching and providing help, that allows Harrell to have more of an impact at the rim.
Randall. Harrison steps up for the jumper. And the last touch by the Cardinals.
Off of this penetration here, this is where Russ Smith has improved the most. His decision making, almost 5 assists a game. We know about his ability to score it, but that ability to make others better. And Harrell being the biggest beneficiary in terms of his growth as a player.
He's got 3 assists already, and Randall short with the shot. Jones got a hand on it, but Kentucky keeps it. Aaron Harrison, and finally someone hits a 3 against Louisville.
How about the effort, though, by Kentucky to win that loose ball battle, which led to that jump shot by Harrison.
First made three against the Cardinals in 23 attempts spanning 3 games. Traveling on Harrell.
And even though Louisville's had a terrific start, you can see now Kentucky's this jump shot starting to settle them down a little bit. Still going to have to deal with that pressure, but you can see there the travel. Call by the official. I hadn't seen that he had established a pivot foot yet, but still, call made.
Mathiang for Van Treese. Mathiang went for the steal. Harrison spins away. Ozier almost got to it. Would have been a breakaway the other way. And that's going against Randall.
And you see what I mean about the speed, how they're upping the tempo of Kentucky. They're making Kentucky play a lot faster than they're comfortable playing. And that overall speed and quickness of Louisville has been a difference here early on.
Louisville operating with Russ Smith on the bench. Harrell picks it up, and he is hammered by Poitras. His first.
Harrell is just a flat-out man with his ability. How about the strength to keep control of the basketball at the high post? And once he sees a lane to the rim, he is in attack mode.
You weren't that strong. They were going to take that ball away from him. Harrell. Sixteen fouls each way. Hey, the Masters is coming up in just 2 weeks' time. Masters Live. Don't forget about it, with full coverage from down at Amen Corner, the 15th and 16th holes, and the featured groups. And you can find it at cbssports.com/masters or masters.com.
Kentucky's taking a punch here early on. Let's see if they can regain their poise here and play with some of that unselfishness they showed against Wichita State.
Young. Nice rebound and put back. Randall.
And that's what he has done really so well all season. 22 double-doubles on the year and just a monster on the offensive glass.
Already with 6 rebounds in this game. Ball knocked loose. On the floor. Picked up by Andrew Harrison. Takes the lane. Misses the layup. And a foul's going against the Cardinals.
And you know what? Fortunate there. He had Randall for the run out. Didn't get it to him. Able to create the contact, though. He'll be shooting 2 when we come back.
Coverage of the NCAA men's basketball tournament is sponsored by Infinity. The Kindle Fire HDX tablet from Amazon. And by AT&T.
Welcome back. Take a look here. You see, he's got Randall. If he kicks that ahead, he decides not to, and then he goes to attack the rim. And watch that right arm, that foul ball there. Jim, remember that's the injury he had in the Kansas State game. Take a look at that coming down right on top of that elbow. You can see he's in some significant pain.
He was wincing, almost in tears, but he's back on the floor. That hyperextended elbow injury suffered in the Kansas State game last Friday night, and that was for Mathiang, his 2nd foul. And the kid gets right up and hits a free throw. How do you figure? Over to Tracy.
Well, guys, I watched him as he came off the court, and as you mentioned it, he was crying, literally in pain, but he sat down on the chair. No athletic trainer looked at him, and he just went right back out there, guys. He's going to try and play through it like he did against Wichita State.
He went right back out there and hit 2 free throws. Kid's amazing. 11-3 stretch here for the Wildcats. Oh! And hello, Russ Smith.
Remember the play against Cauley-Stein where he altered the shot. No alteration on that finish.
Harrison gets it back. Young wanted it. Tough shot. But Randall's there, and Randall scores.
And this has been the theme for this Kentucky team. Their ability to pound you in the paint, particularly on that offensive glass, and it's really about Randall because they're small right now with Poitras and Randall on that front line.
Smith with a 3. Tipped up by Harrell.
Right back at you.
Andrew Harrison. Vantrease got a hand on him. Poitras surrounded on the floor, and the arrow belongs to Louisville.
Take a look at Randall here with the position, and that's really his bread and butter, his ability to get there. And you know what? Harrell says, you know what? I've worked on my ability to attack that offensive glass as well. And Harrell's bringing great energy. Well, now you can see the intensity is after Kentucky got rattled. It seems like they've settled down a little bit now, trying to match that intensity of Louisville.
They did not call that a tie-up. Kentucky, they ruled out of bounds. And Smith again on the inside. Now with 10.
They're running that elbow rub with Harrell at the high post, curling their guards off. And again, no shot blocking on that front line right now for Kentucky, and pinpoint passing by Harrell.
Over to Young. Was free for a second. Gives it to Dakari Johnson.
Good execution offensively there. Good patience by James Young, entrusting Johnson to attack Vantrease.
Just the 5th points, or 5 points total, I should say, for Johnson in 3 tournament games. A starter in all 3. Smith and contact on Young. It'll be a 1-and-1.
And just take a look at that elbow rub. See how he rubs him off, Young? He, in essence, it's almost like a pick and roll. Watch, he used his backside there just to create that space for Russ Smith. And again, the shot blocking, no Cauley-Stein down low. And that rim is available for Louisville.
2 fouls on Young, so Hawkins seeing a second stint off the bench. Coke Zero wants to know, are you a real fan? Hashtag prove it. Visit the Coke Zero social arena in March Madness Live, and every real fan is watching this one tonight here in Indianapolis. The site of last year's Midwest Regional, with Louisville winning it, advancing to Atlanta, and the site right here of next year's Final Four. Louisville has brought in Gill for the first time. There's the lob, too high, and a turnover.
Good idea there, really, by Harrison. Calipari wanted some contact on Randall as he went for that lob pass. Seemed like he got pushed a little bit down low.
7th turnover on Kentucky as we approach 4 minutes. Smith driving. And Hawkins. Whistle for that. His first.
See there on the shot. Good job by Hawkins of moving his feet there.
Hawkins seeing action after not seeing action in St. Louis.
Well, I think in part because Kentucky's struggling guarding the bounce right now with Smith and Jones. Hawkins a little bit better defensively, more quickness on that perimeter. These free throws, though, for Louisville are important because they allow them to set their defense in terms of the full court press. Smith missed the last one. This time he makes, and then that's where they look to just speed up Kentucky, not allow them to settle into that half-court offense.
To the corner. Harrison. Johnson follow-up short. And it stays at this end of the floor. Well, it is some rivalry with an Elite Eight berth on the line. Louisville and Kentucky.
There's about 6.5 to play in the first half. Jim and Greg.
All right, thank you, Greg. And Michigan State trying to become the third Big Ten team into the round of 8. And Michigan Wolverines taking a look at this one. There's Zach Irvin, who had 3 big threes. And it'll either be a rematch of last year's national championship game here on Sunday, or Kentucky and Michigan for the first time since the '93 national semifinals down in New Orleans. The Harrison struggling from the floor. A combined 1 for 10. Randall is swarmed. Here's Andrew Harrison. That's his first make, and it's a big one. Now 1 of 6 from the field.
And really in a game where Louisville has controlled it, it's still just a 2-possession game. So Kentucky's done enough to put themselves in position here in this first half.
Harrell with a man-sized play right there.
The great seal, a terrific post entry as well. And then he does a great job of just creating that space right there. That little bump on Randall didn't allow him to have a free run at the contest. That bump knocks him off balance. And then Johnson coming in weak side with the contact and the foul.
They charge it to Johnson his first. Johnson snags that rebound. Aaron Harrison. Well, his twin hit one a second ago, and now he's got a 3 of his own.
And after getting off to such a shaky start from beyond the arc, those last 2 in a row are big for Kentucky. That could be an intentional. Hawkins just grabbed and pulled Smith down there.
Coming up, AT&T at the half. Greg and Clark. Kenny and Charles, first half analysis. Highlights of all of tonight's action and the latest tournament news coming up on AT&T at the half. For Hawkins, his second. Russ Smith at the line. He's only 3 out of 6. And the first team All-America. Again, only 50% for the game from the line. Hawkins gets rid of it in a hurry. To Johnson, and they've got a 3-point opportunity at this end.
How about Johnson? That's 2 times now where he's done a great job of getting post position. This time against the double team, able to get up over the top of Harrell for the finish.
And Harrell is slapped with his second with 2:30 to go in the half.
Now the question, if you're Rick Pitino, do you take him out this last 2:20? You don't want to risk him picking up that 3rd foul.
It's Harrell, and that is his 3rd. No sooner did it leave your lips.
And a smart play, really, by Andrew Harrison. He just baited him into this. He was going to fall the entire time. Really heads-up play there by the freshman to draw that foul.
Cauley-Stein takes Harrell's place. 2 fouls in 13 seconds. 3 overall on Harrell. And they've gone most of the half without Luke Hancock. It was a part of that blitzkrieg at the start and then got slapped with 2 fouls.
And the importance of that third changes not only now him being out now, but how he starts to play in that second half cannot be nearly as aggressive on either end.
Aaron Harrison back in the rim. Russ Smith got tripped by Andrew Harrison. His second.
A little inadvertent contact there.
And it's a double bonus.
Those are the plays you kind of like to see the officials let them go.
As a team, 6 of 13. And Russ Smith now 4 for 9. As Polson comes back in, senior. And there's a look at shooting for this game. Kentucky a little over 30%. Smith missed them both. Tapped out to Blackshear.
And what a difference from earlier when these two teams played. Louisville took 26 threes in that game. They've only attempted 5 here, making 6.
And Treese to Jones. He's all set. And another chance. Smith. Called on the Cardinals.
A lot of opportunities by Louisville, but wasted. And now all of a sudden, Kentucky with an opportunity to get to the free throw line. And just when we talked about how they had been disciplined and staying away from that three-pointer, there 3 successive attempts off of those offensive rebounds.
First foul on Jones. And it'll be Randall in the double bonus.
And if you're John Calipari, Jim, you've got to be thrilled with everything that's happened. You get hit with that haymaker, you lose Cauley-Stein, and you look up and it's a 1-possession game.
You're in danger of getting blown off the floor in the first half.
I thought he did a really good job with timeouts. Just to continue to be able to communicate to his young team, to keep them engaged, because you could see they were rattled and lacking for confidence.
Randall rattles home both. And it's a 2-point game. Rozier back on the floor. Smith driving in. Rozier with the shot. And Randall says, I'll take that. Less than a minute to go in the half. And Randall going in for the tie. And he lost it, but it's off Louisville.
Yeah, but how much more aggressive has Julius Randall? We talked about last week his maturity against Wichita State. Didn't force anything early. Let the game kind of come to him. Similar here today with how he's played down the stretch of this half.
He's almost got a double-double in the half. And that's going to be on Van Treese, which will send Randall back to the line for 2 more. Van Treese, his first.
Well, there was contact earlier, but when the whistle was blown, not sure about that.
Hawkins for Jared Polson. And now for the tie. Randall, 9 points, 9 rebounds. Smith driving in. Oh, and he floats it home.
Great read there. He saw Johnson coming over. I'm sure he thought he was going to go for the blocks and shot a beautiful floater off the backboard.
Yeah.
That was a heck of a shot.
Right over Johnson and Randall. And now Kentucky looking for the last shot of the half. Harrison almost stolen by Blackshear. Randall wide. And we've reached halftime. Louisville had a 13-point lead at 18-5. And then Kentucky settled down. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, Coach. You had a 13-point lead there. Kentucky seemed to find their rhythm. What do you need to get back
Well, we
to?
make our free throws, we'd be up 13. That's the name of the game. Very simple. Our great foul shooters are missing free throws. We had a terrible call on Luke Hancock there in the second foul. He didn't foul him. That's part of the game. When the other team just keeps diving into your body, you're going to lose some calls. Overall, we played a good half. The offensive foul on Montrez was an offensive foul. He has to know that he has 2 fouls in that situation.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
Well, he makes a good point here, too. 6 of 15 from the free throw line is Louisville. Michigan State and Virginia. You can see that over on TBS, but we've got AT&T at the half coming up. Louisville leads by 3 at halftime. You're watching the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship.
Coverage of the NCAA Men's Basketball Tournament is sponsored by Buick, Nationwide Insurance, LG, and by Bud Light.
Here is the first half arithmetic, and Louisville actually plus 10 in points in the paint, and led by Russ Smith's 15 points. Let's go over to Tracy Wolfson.
Well, thanks a lot, guys. We saw Kentucky's Willie Cauley-Stein go out in that first half with a left ankle injury. I was just told he is out for the game. As for the severity of it, he is still being evaluated. I just spoke with John Calipari, and he told me it's not going to be just one guy who's going to replace him. His whole team needs to step up, guys.
What are you looking for in the second half after this big turnaround by Kentucky?
Well, Kentucky's got to feel good. They didn't play well, yet because Louisville doesn't make free throws, it allows them to stay in the game. The one question is, can they continue to defend the rim? They're minus 10 points in the paint, which is a surprise, and they're starting to impact the offensive glass. They got 10 there, particularly down the stretch. They were starting to have some impact there, but it still comes down to what we talked about at the top. Will the speed of Louisville be able to take over and impact the size of Kentucky, which has been hurt because they don't have Cauley-Stein. Only 1 block shot in that first half for Kentucky.
Hancock back on the floor, played only 5 minutes in that first half. And he's able to get a quick whistle here on Young. And for Young, that's 3. Just 15 seconds into the second half.
And I thought the guys at halftime made a great point, Clark in particular, about Hancock. Those 2 early fouls, he had gotten off to a really good start. And the thing about him that's important, in the half court in particular, he gives them space on the floor because of that threat from the 3.
Here's Blackshear. And Randall has the 10th rebound.
And no Harrell to start this half with those 3 fouls. So let's see how this first 2-3 minutes plays out from both sides in this game.
Dakari Johnson. And that's Russ Smith. To Jones. Gets the pick from Van Treese. Van Treese knocks it loose. Right back to Randall. Harrison. And he'll go to the line.
And similarly for Kentucky, when you don't have Harrell and Mathiang out there, you also can attack the rim with penetration by both the Harrisons and Young.
Van Treese battling a bloody nose. Kentucky 9 out of 12 at the line. Get complete coverage of the NCAA Division I Women's Tournament at ncaa.com. Hard to explain, though, Louisville. It's 6 out of 15 from the line in that first half.
Well, more so because of who's taking them. The fact that Russ Smith took 10 of those and missed 6. Shot better from the field than Russ Smith than he did from the free throw line. That's got to change in this second half for the Cardinals.
Jones. He got Johnson to commit, and he'll shoot free throws.
And that's something, Jim, I think you're going to see more. They have to feel like Dakari Johnson's the guy you can attack when you put him in pick and rolls. Kentucky likes to switch a lot of these plays, and I don't think he's got the quickness laterally to be able to contain those guards. Plus, it takes him away from being able to guard the rim.
Jones did not score in that first half. He's a Memphis kid who originally signed out of high school with Tennessee, which lost on this floor earlier tonight in a game that came down to the wire. Michigan prevailing by 2. Smith, the all-time steals leader in Louisville history, helped force that one nearly. Hawkins. And Johnson able to take it to the basket.
Really good job by Kentucky of handling that pressure and then getting it to Johnson, who's able to finish. That's 3 times now he's been able to score baskets in the paint for Kentucky.
Smith, slip, got it outside, Hancock. And it's going back to Kentucky, which has led in this game for only 10 seconds tonight.
A couple opportunities there. Vantrease goes for that steal, which allows Johnson to get that finish there. Big basket for Kentucky.
And the Wildcats can take the lead on this trip. They put pressure on Harrison, who drives and draws the foul. And it's on Jones, his second.
And that was a fortunate play. Kentucky, that press sped them up, got them a little out of sync there, but able to at least draw the foul against the Cardinals.
Randall underneath, denied, and it's going to Louisville. And Coach Cal can't believe there wasn't a whistle.
And how about the fact no shot blockers in there, but you know what? He blocked his own shot is what happened. Just didn't have an angle to get that ball up to the rim there on that possession.
And that's on Vantrease. His third.
And that play is on Russ Smith, though. You've got to allow the big to get set there. He just went a little too soon on that possession. And that's actually a good call. You got to allow your big as a guard to get set before you utilize him in that pick and roll.
Coach Pitino's going to bring in Harrell on the next whistle. Randall, he traveled. Harrell as well as Mathiang. So they go the first 3 minutes of the second half and don't expose Harrell at any risk with the 3 fouls.
Listen, I thought it was a really savvy move by Pitino. The fact that you don't start him. Now he's got to get loose here, having set for those 3 minutes. But you've averted the opportunity of him picking up that foul. Let's see if he can still be as aggressive now on both ends.
That's Poitras knocking it out. It's a bigger lineup for Louisville with not only Harrell but Mathiang also.
And Mathiang gave him great minutes there in that first half.
That's off Jones.
And you can see too that the intensity has kind of switched. It was all about Louisville and their energy and activity when this game started. Slowly but surely, Kentucky has started to show a little bit more fire here in this second half.
The Cardinals to start this second half, 0 for 3 from the field and a pair of turnovers. Harrison brings it across. Constant pressure by Jones and Smith. The Harrisons break it. Harrison loves this spot. And it goes to Louisville.
And a good possession, really both sides, because Kentucky, they handled the pressure. They got the swing from strong to weak side, and they got a decent look. And then Louisville able to control that defensive backboard there and retain possession.
Smith, and that's on Hawkins. His third, and back comes James Young with 3.
And similar for John Calipari with Young, those 3 fouls. He's got to be careful as well to not be too aggressive on either end.
4 minutes into the second half, and no field goal yet until now by Hancock.
Hancock, Jim, got off to a great start before the foul trouble. Remember, no shot blocking for Kentucky. No problem for Hancock.
Who do you think will come up big today? Tune in to the Inside March Madness postgame presented by Buick to see the surprising performance of the day. The truck, by the way, I know who came up big on Tuesday.
Oh.
Congratulations to the Anthonys.
Thank you. Yeah.
And little baby Naomi.
Yeah, Naomi Evelyn Anthony was born healthy, happy young baby. How about the fact that both our little girls have the same exact weight?
Man, there's some karma.
Yeah, there is.
6 pounds, 7 ounces. Naomi and Finley.
We'll have to arrange a play date sometime after the Final Four.
How about this road to the Final Four? Seriously. Traveling call on Randall for the second time in this half.
Well, the pressure of Louisville has really been a difference all game. It's just not allowed Kentucky to have the kind of continuity from an offensive standpoint. And they had to do this, Louisville. They have to try to speed the game up, extend their pressure to not allow Kentucky to pound them on the interior.
Rozier wants it. And James Young clears it. Andrew Harrison taken off.
Good job on that play there by Harrison in transition. That size, able to get to the rim, and Mathiang there picking up his third. So foul trouble becoming a concern on both sides.
Andrew Harrison, who was high scorer last Sunday against Wichita State with 20. And he had 18 against Louisville in December. It's 1 of 2.
Kentucky shows a little bit of extension of their pressure here against Louisville.
Hancock, three-pointer. Harrell tried to follow it. Louisville's missed its last 9 from 3. There's Randall.
How about that move by Julius Randall? Good job, too. Led transition on that play. Got it up to Young and then created a mismatch there and able to attack and finish in traffic.
Randall's got a double-double. More importantly, he ties the game. Timeout Louisville.
Welcome back to Indianapolis, all tied up. Take a look at this transition play. You see Julius Randall here leading the break, and what he does, that push puts a lot of pressure on Louisville's defense. They're a little disjointed here, and then he's smart to see he can attack right away before the help's able to come, because every time Randall has gotten it down low, Louisville has looked to double team and force the ball out of his hand. That quick push and the fact that Louisville's defense was disjointed, and then his presence to understand I can attack before the defense is set. Big possession there for Kentucky.
And look at the foul issues for the Cardinals. Speaking of disjointed for Louisville, Offensively, out of rhythm going back late first half. Missing 9 of its last 11. And missing, in fact, overall, its last 9 from 3.
But that foul trouble has taken away their ability to extend their pressure and be aggressive with Harrell, Matthew, and Van Treese. And so it's made it more of a half-court game, which is to the advantage of Kentucky. But not on that possession. That's the second time from Hancock.
And I can hear Clark and Charles going back at one another over Hancock's 2 moves in this half.
Well, he's going to be able to play in this game because of the great speed of Jones and Smith. You have to be in help mode, which allows him to catch with the defense running at him, which is where he's very effective.
Mathiang denies and steals. And now back to Russ Smith, who's been quiet this half. Puts it up. Follow-up, yes, by Harrell. Kentucky pushes ahead. Johnson. Smith, as the pace picks up, 2 more.
And this frenetic pace is what Louisville wants. If you're Kentucky, you can't get caught up in that fool's goal. You got to continue to play to your strength.
Oh, I'm not sure he got it across. It was close.
That 10-second count, it did look close there.
Johnson. Johnson's having a big game. Dakari Johnson now with 10. And again, he had scored all of 3 points in the first 2 games. Smith.
Boy, this is another terrific game. Both teams bringing a lot of energy and fight. You talked about Johnson. How big has he been during this stretch? The one concern if you're Kentucky will be fatigue with him, not accustomed to playing extended minutes.
Here he is again. Lost it this time. And it's Hancock there to steal it and feed it for 2. You know what? I think Hancock can play in this game. I actually do.
Louisville trying to create some separation. Take a look at Julius Randle here. You can see fatigue is starting to be an issue. Watch Harrell. You see how Randle just does not give the effort to get back. Quick time out there by Calipari. I think he sensed it also that his team was starting to show some signs of fatigue, and he actually took Randle out of the game. And you can see the same thing, I think, with Johnson. This is going to be important for them. You know how well conditioned Louisville is, and they're going to continue to try to play at this frenetic pace.
Right, the Twins get it across. The game had been tied at 38. Then Patino called a timeout, and the intensity picked up out of that break. Now, Calipari coming out of a timeout. Let's see if he can settle things down for his young team. Andrew Harrison with the jumper.
And a really good decision by Harrison there. Didn't really challenge the shot blocker in the paint. Harrell just went for that nice little mid-range and able to convert.
Giving Russ Smith a breather right now. As Rozier drives in. And Treese somehow saves it. And Jones with the left hand banks it home. Van Treese kept that possession alive. And it's back up by 6 for Louisville.
And remember, Randle not in the game, their best rebounder. Not having him creates those opportunities on the offensive glass. And then the attack here by Jones. The confidence and the ability with the left hand. Cardinals by 6.
Living up to all the billing. Kentucky. And 11 minutes to go. Louisville leads it by 6. And it's astonishing to see what the Cardinals are doing in the paint. You would actually think this graphic is upside down, but it's not.
I don't think there's any scenario that would be remotely plausible that would have you think that Louisville would be the dominant team on the interior. And it's not all about transition and fast breaks. They've been able to get it there consistently in the half court. Now, no Cauley-Stein obviously has had a huge impact defensively for Kentucky because he's the one guy that is a deterrent at the rim.
The last, if you saw it, 15 field goals by Louisville have been in the paint. Harrison, there's a nifty move for 2 more.
Some good recognition there. Able to use that size and get the angle and then get to the rim.
He's got 10. Hancock on the baseline. Back out to Jones, and his pass is stolen. Again, the Cardinals without Russ Smith on the floor.
Louisville stand in this matchup zone.
Harrison hit his last 3 shots, make it 4. And he cuts it to 2.
Great job there, just attacking Van Treese in the paint.
Timeout, Louisville. Harrison has 12 for the game, 7 in the second half. Tomorrow on TBS, the first 2 qualifiers for the Final Four in North Texas. Dayton and Florida up first from Memphis, and then from Anaheim, Wisconsin, and Arizona for the West.
And Russ Smith back into the game for the Cardinals.
There's Smith getting inside, and another basket in the paint.
And it's the same set, that high post rub. Well, they curl their guards off. Again, the shot blocking not there. Johnson just not as apt or athletic to be able to get there and contest those shots.
Harrison lobs it for Young.
And a really good job with the decision-making here by Harrison. Attack for opportunities for himself, and then the great read for Young for the lob.
Jones. High off the window. To answer back. 54-50, Cardinals. Kentucky in this half is shooting 73%. Young, no basket. And that's going to be the 4th.
And a good job there by Harold. Young just a little bit out of control. Clearly a charge on that possession there. And that's a tough loss, too, because he's that other guy, if you will, on the perimeter who can make plays for Kentucky.
Boy, he hit big shots down the stretch against Wichita State. That was a big moment right there as Kentucky brings in Marcus Lee for the first time. 0-0. Hoyt was on the floor, too. Harrell. Oh, it's tipped in by Kentucky, I believe.
Yeah, it's definitely, they call goaltend there, but you can see that right there. Actually, I'm not sure about the goaltend, but they did tip it in. And you know what? How many times have we seen Hancock in this second half with an ability to get to the paint? A few times for finishes, and in that one with a nice find for Harrell.
Randall fights through it. And Harold.
And you see how as soon as Randall touches it, they're going to double him from the weak side.
And it's called on Lee of Kentucky. Just 7.5 to go. There is respect, but there is no love between these two programs. And the Elite Eight berth comes down to 7.5 to go.
In the second half, Jim and Greg, back to you in Indy.
And the winner to play UConn on Sunday for the East Regional title. Jim Nance and Greg Anthony and Tracy Wolfson back here as Hancock to inbound. Smith and Treese on the floor. Going to call a foul. Going to call it on Smith. And that's his third. And it'll be a 1-and-1. And it's interesting as these two coaches play the chess game. Coach Cal has brought back James Young with 4 fouls with still 7:23 on the clock. He's not waiting any longer. 1-and-1. Follow the games anywhere with NCAA March Madness Live. Download the app on your Amazon Kindle, iPhone, iPad, or Android device by visiting ncaa.com/March Madness.
And he also brought him back on the defensive side.
Yeah, he sat down just 1 minute with the 4.
And in part, I think Kentucky has struggled to guard the perimeter here in this game.
Hancock drills the 3.
And that's on James Young. Coming off that curl. But remember, when you don't have that shot blocker, it takes some of your aggressiveness away on the perimeter, and Louisville has made them pay.
Here is Young. Kicks it back out. And Montrezl Harrell deflects it out with 19 on the shot clock.
Yeah, just a really good job of coming off that pin down from Van Treese. No hesitation on that triple.
Aaron Harrison. Put back and in by Dakari Johnson.
Oh boy, he has been so big for Kentucky here tonight. Just a good contest there by Van Treese, and Johnson just there, aggressive to attack the offensive glass.
And Van Treese has 4. And Mathiang will take his position on the floor. Where has this performance come from tonight by Dakari Johnson? Now with 13.
But he's played well down the stretch.
Yeah, he earned a starting job late in the season. Virtually invisible in the 2 games in St. Louis. Huge presence tonight. Young backing off with the 4. And Hancock takes advantage. Very nearly stolen by Smith. On the inbounds throw. And again it's Johnson. The freshman from Brooklyn.
Just terrific action, really on both ends.
Dakari Johnson's tied his career high of 15. Hancock to the hole and to the line for 2.
And that's number 5 on James Young there. And Hancock has just really done a good job at attacking, knowing Young has the 4 fouls. He's so crafty with the basketball. You see it up top over the head there, and Hancock will be heading to the free throw line.
So Young lasted a minute and a half on the floor with the 4. And now he's done. He was such a huge part of their win at Rupp Arena against the Cardinals with 18 points and 10 rebounds.
And it's even when maybe statistically he's not having as great a game, his presence on the floor is also important because he's a guy you have to account for offensively. Plus, he's, you know, when you look at this group of their starters, he's their best, to me, perimeter defender. So not having him out there will be a huge loss for Kentucky.
Hancock, the only non-starter in the first 75 years of the NCAA Final Four to be named the most outstanding player.
And he's been pretty outstanding here tonight. 17 points he's put up. Remember, we talked about he got off to a great start before the foul trouble. And how money has he been here in this second half?
12 and a half, as you said, 17 for the game. Harrison splits. Swatted away by Mathiang and saved by Rozier. Up ahead. Mathiang waits. And it spins out. Jones. Short. Tapped up once, twice, no. Somehow Kentucky gets out without giving up a basket. That ball did a 360 around the rim, didn't it?
It sure did. And looked like there was contact on the elbow there, but still just not able to get that one to go. They are going at it down low.
So we got a Louisville player. It's Jones.
Remember that part of that action was when he went in to try to get that layup.
Boy, he's being helped off the floor. Taken behind the Louisville bench.
Yeah, he hit his head there on the floor. You can see it. Oh.
Meanwhile, at this end, Rozier hit with his 3rd foul. To be a 1-and-1. The foul on Rozier that sets him up at the line.
And we talked about the inability of Louisville to make their free throws, as you see Jones being attended to. How about how well Kentucky's been at the line here in this game? They have been really solid. I think that's one of the things that's allowed them to stay in the game.
15 out of 19. And now 80% for the night. And Randall gets a little break. Be here for the summer's biggest event when Academy Award winner Halle Berry comes to television in the groundbreaking new series Extant, coming this summer only CBS. And 3 fouls on Andrew Harrison. It's a 1-and-1 for Luke Hancock.
You know, it's interesting, all the talk about who Luke Hancock would guard. Kentucky hasn't been able to guard Luke Hancock in this second half. He's really been the guy in the half court that's given them the most trouble.
And meanwhile, Louisville was 6 out of 6 in this half at the line after a dreadful 6 of 15 first half. 5 to shoot. Open Poitras.
Oh, what a find.
No kid. What a throw in there with the left hand. Just fires it in there, does Andrew Harrison. And that's the first 2 bench points of the night for the Wildcats. Kentucky going for a while without Randall. Here is Smith. And a block by Poitras. It's going to Kentucky. And we got the under 4 break. Coach Cal jumps off the bench and comes out to high-five his team for that effort. Louisville being led by Russ Smith's 21 and Luke Hancock's 19. And now the degree 2 more moment of the game.
And we talked about the difference in Louisville from earlier this season. I think these 2 guys, Hancock and Harrell, have been the biggest difference. They only combined for 14 points that first meeting. They have 31 here, 34 here today.
For more Duke, more moments of the game, you can log on to degreebasketball.com. Young has been fouled out, and Harrell has gone the whole second half without picking up his 4th.
And also the fact that Julius Randle, only 2 rebounds and 2 points in this second half, has not been nearly the factor that he needs to be for Kentucky.
He's back on the floor after a break. Here is Randall. Goes up high with it. Quite a shot by Randall.
And a good design there by Calipari to get him at the top of the key where you can't really come double, and then he made a quick, decisive move to attack the rim.
3-point game, 3 minutes to play. Hancock working on Poitras. And that's off Hancock, who wanted the foul call. Let's go over to Tracy.
Well, guys, Rick Pitino obviously not happy there, but during that timeout, he told them don't back down. He said be aggressive and make them take bad shots. And then he challenged Russ Smith, as he has been all game, and he told them stop standing there, play defense, and get to the hoop, guys.
Well, it didn't take long to call that timeout. We'll step aside here from Indianapolis and a thriller. Coming up after the game on TBS, it's Inside March Madness, presented by Buick.
This is what we should have right now. 1 possession game, under 3 minutes to go here. Both teams dealing with adversity, foul trouble, and whatnot. Let's see now if Kentucky can continue to execute in the half court.
Double up on Harrison. To his brother. Randall. Hawkins took his eye off on it. And tie-up arrow belongs to the Wildcats.
And remember, Hawkins not really much of an offensive threat and almost turns it over there. Good effort to come up with the tie-up.
And still only 6 seconds on the shot clock. Hawkins also unaccustomed to playing minutes this big. Five to shoot. Randall. No whistle. Poitras. There's the whistle. And one.
And Poitras has given them some quality minutes. Remember, he was the one that forced that turnover on Hancock a few possessions ago, and then he comes up here with the huge offensive rebound.
And the foul on Harrell, his 4th, and the game is tied at 66.
think there's a substitution being made. That's what the pause is on both ends.
Pitino has a quick word with Harrell. I'm sure imploring him to be careful with now 4 fouls. As Jones, who took that nasty fall, is back into the game. Louisville has not made a shot from the field in 4 minutes. Here's Smith. Runs to the rebound. Kentucky has it. Up to Aaron Harrison. Missed the layup. Harrell pulls it away.
And Russ Smith made a huge error following up his own 3, which allowed that run out for Kentucky. Hancock bails them out, and then they come back and turn it over again. Good contest there by Hancock, but still another turnover by Louisville. And that missed shot, in essence, like a turnover. Not a good decision on that possession.
And Kentucky on this trip can take the lead. Randall outside. Poitras back into the paint.
Wow. My goodness. Did you see Hancock go flying out of there?
And it's on Harrell, number 5.
That is a huge loss for the Cardinals.
He goes almost 18 minutes into the second half without picking up the 4th foul, and then all of a sudden 4 and 5 come back to back. There wasn't a whole lot of contact here. Watch 24.
Well, the contact, he got enough of the hand, I guess, but I'm looking also prior to that, Poitras on the attack there just cleared Hancock out of that play, and you can see the frustrations on that young man's face. But how about now, 126, and Kentucky with an opportunity to take their first lead.
And Louisville will go the rest of the way without its biggest presence on the inside. Here is Poitras. Kentucky last led at 2-0. Had the lead for 10 seconds. And now has the lead again at 67-66.
And they've been the more poised team here down the stretch. They've been a lot more effective in their half-court offense than Louisville has, who's taken some questionable shots and had a few turnovers.
Well, Smith in the lane, and he puts Louisville back up by 1.
He may have the shortest memory in college basketball. He does not get down on himself, no matter the circumstance.
1 minute to go, and a 1-point game. Harrison back out to Randall, driving on Blackshear, feeds the corner. Aaron Harrison hits the 3. Timeout, Louisville.
About that combination there. Russ Smith had his struggles here down the stretch, hits the huge shot there, and then the triple, even with the contest, puts Kentucky up by 2. Wow.
Before that shot, Aaron Harrison was 2 out of 12 from the field.
We talked about Russ Smith's short memory. Aaron Harrison has had one as well there. No doubt in his mind that that shot was going in.
All right, let's set it up here for the Cardinals. with 31 seconds to go, 28 to shoot. No Harrell. What are they going to do here?
Well, you're still going to run their same offense. Russ Smith's probably going to end up with it. Keep an eye on Hancock as well in this situation. And they're going to look to play. They're not looking to try to milk this clock and get the last shot. They're looking for the first opportunity to attack here. In the double, they're in the penalty, not the double bonus though, just the 1-and-1.
Kentucky was down 7 with 4 minutes and 11 seconds to play. And what a turnaround to lead by 2.
Yeah, they've gone small, Louisville. Now you've got Blackshear, in essence, as that 4th guard for Louisville.
Hancock. Back to Jones. Louisville down 2. The defending national champions. Give it to Hancock. Takes it inside. Chase for the rebound, and it belongs to Louisville.
And Calipari wants them to go to the monitor to determine who this basketball is off of.
All the Kentucky kids were pointing over to the scorer's table, suggesting just that too.
Similar scenario to what we had in our first game tonight, where down the stretch there were some questions as to who would retain possession. Let's take a look at this one again.
First glance, it looks like it's off Antrice. Let's see this one.
Well, from that angle, you see Vantrice, Randall on it as well. I couldn't tell if Harrison from that angle also touched it. But I agree with you. I think initially right there, you see his hands on it. You know, Harrison also gets a finger in there.
But from that angle, you can't see Randall's hand.
Yeah, that's...
The call on the court was Louisville basketball.
And his fingers, you can see Vantrice's fingers right. Let's see as they come off. What a big call this is right now.
Randall's hand seems to be off the ball.
Yeah, it looks like it's off Vantrice's fingers there. But even with replays, oftentimes it's difficult to determine the outcome of a play.
From that angle, can you tell if Harrison's hand might still be on it too?
You can, but it did look like from there that it was off Vantrice. But listen, we thought the same thing earlier on a close call between Tennessee and Michigan, and the officials decided to go against what we thought. So let's see how this one plays out.
And while this one is a nail biter, Michigan State and Virginia over on TBS are in the last minute with the Spartans leading by 2.
Well, I tell you, how about all of these games today? That UConn-Iowa State game was great, and you see again another angle. And see there, you can't tell if Harrison touches it. It's a tough call. And that's why it's taken the officials so long to try to determine the call. And see, from that angle, you don't know where Harrison's hand is in relation to Vantrice's. This is a little different angle.
Yeah, this is a new one here.
So you can't tell with Harrison's hand there. And remember, it has to be determined by the officials that the evidence is such that you can overturn it.
You can really take Randall, I think, out of this because Vantrice definitely has his hand on it, it seems to me, after Randall has let go of it. The question is now, is Harrison still making contact with the basketball.
Yeah, right there. You can see, obviously, that's a great point. Van Treese's hand's there, but we can't determine if Harrison has touched it. And they still haven't made a decision yet.
Look at this one. With 15 seconds to go in the game.
And I think the call is simply that they couldn't see enough evidence to reverse it. Remember,
right.
The original call was to give the ball to Louisville.
So they stay with the Cardinals. 12 to shoot, 15 on the clock. Hancock to Blackshear. And, it looked like a clean block, but a foul is called.
They almost come up with the turnover here. Let's take a look at this. Wow, that looks pretty clean there.
75% free throw shooter. Fouled by Randall, his second. That's the call.
And remember, you're allowed as a defender to go straight up.
2 shots to tie it. And Takari Johnson comes in for Kentucky.
Now this one becomes huge because you're going to have to foul.
Got it down to 1.
And they have enough time. We saw it earlier with Tennessee and Michigan. You can make a play for the steal here. You don't have to immediately commit a foul.
Timeout called by Aaron Harrison. $14 seconds to go. You're going to have to try to inbound it against probably the quickest team in college basketball. Number 1 in the country when it comes to turnover margin. You got Russ Smith, who loves to kind of just create all kinds of hijinks and helter-skelter play out there. And if they have to resort, talking about Louisville, to a foul here, it will be double bonus, 2 shots for Kentucky at the other end.
And you know, again, we've seen the pressure have an impact all game. Even if you're Louisville, you're hoping to try to force an inbounds into the corner, and you can get a hard trap, and you still have time to then go for the steal out of that trap. And if you don't get that first one, then you're going to have to commit the foul. And even at that point, you should have enough time. Even if they make both free throws, it's still a 1-possession game.
Here we go with the inbounds throw to Randall. And Van Treese will send him to the line as Van Treese fouls out. And if this game somehow ends up going to overtime, Louisville will be without 2 of its starters, Van Treese and Harrell, the 2 biggest bodies in the starting lineup. And, of course, Kentucky is without Young.
Yeah, but if you're Louisville, that's a problem you'd like to have right now.
Yeah.
Trailing by 1 with Kentucky on the free throw line. That's still best case scenario unless somehow Randall's unable to convert here.
Randall 70% on the season. 3 out of 4 tonight to shoot 2. No problem with the first.
And you know, Jim, when you look at this game, it's been the free throw line that's been the difference.
No timeouts left for Louisville. The second one good. Cardinals have to hit on a 3. Russ Smith and his magnificent career. Will it be extended? He takes the 3 for the tie.
I think it was blocked.
Kentucky has it and is fouled with 2 seconds.
I think that Randall got a piece of that 3-point attempt by Russ Smith. No, he did not. Just did enough to alter the shot there.
Big time. Influencing the shot.
Wow. How about this young Wildcats team with the poise they've shown here in this second half?
2 shots. And that's enormous. Get ready for the Wildcats celebration. The defending champs are out. The young Cats are moving on to the Elite Eight. Kentucky completes its biggest comeback of the season. Down 13 at one point in the first half, only to pull even early stages of the second half. And Louisville again was up 7 with just 4 minutes to play. And then the Kentucky freshmen found the way, just as they did against Wichita State, to be the better team in the final minutes.
What an unbelievable performance. Dakari Johnson was terrific. Randall made big plays. Both of the Harrisons as well. And then I thought they showed more poise down the stretch in terms of their offensive execution.
Sunday in Indianapolis, Kentucky and Michigan for the right to go to the Final Four. Let's go over to Tracy.
Thanks a lot, guys. Coach, first Wichita State and now Louisville. This team aren't freshmen anymore, are they?
No, they're still freshmen.
They're not playing like it.
Well, Louisville started driving the ball right. And we kept saying the same thing. But here, without Willie and without James Young, Alex Poitras won that game. And to that point, that block he made, and then the play underneath the rebound, he won the game. Now, Aaron made that big 3 in the corner. His brother played well. I'm proud of him, but they're still freshmen.
What about the poise, though, they showed against not only Louisville, but it's your rival?
No, I'm happy for them. I'm happy for my team. Well, I said at halftime, these games in this tournament are all 40 minutes. Just keep playing. Don't worry about score, being up or down. Just play.
Up next, you have Michigan. How big of a challenge will that be?
They're really good. I mean, obviously, they've had a wonderful year. John does a great job with this team. They can shoot it. They got 5 guys that can score. They spread the court. I'll be honest, I just watched about 2 minutes of the game today. But it's going to be a hard test for us.
Thanks so much. Congratulations. Guys, back to you.
Absolutely amazing thing to watch. What a night it was here in Indianapolis. Kentucky advancing to play Michigan on Sunday. You can turn to TBS right now, Michigan State, Virginia, right down to the final second. We'll send you to our New York studio after these messages. Greg Anthony, it was a blast being with you.